Well, about Santander, we're an international bank. We've been in business over 160 years. It's great to work for a company that has managed to really adapt to things, to really be there for the clients, employees, investors, and so on. And it's really challenging to be part of a company that still wants to be serving these audiences and doing it in the right way, and doing it with authenticity. You can see here some of the logos that we've had. We're going to tell you a bit about this last project, this change from this logo that you're seeing and all the brand expression that we recently did with Interbrand. In terms of context, there were a few challenges that we were facing. The first one had to do with the financial crisis, but the implications that this crisis had for the sector were very big in terms of reputation, in terms of revenues, also with regulation. So all these things have made things a bit difficult for the industry. Another challenge has to do with the digital transformation. We're a retail bank. We've always served our clients through our branches mainly, physical space. Nowadays, it's impossible not to be digital, but this was a great challenge for us, and it's been for the last few years. The last external factor I would like to highlight has got to do with players. The small players are such as fintechs, which I think they're doing great work and offering great things to people around the world. Also big techs, like Amazon or Apple. All these new players are challenging, but at the same time, they've been an opportunity for banks, really pushed us to move ahead quickly and do things right. And apart from these external challenges, we had some internal things happening. A new CEO that joined 5 years ago, and she obviously had a new vision, different way of seeing the banking industry that her successor had. She wanted to implement a new strategy. With all these things that I've just mentioned, it was obvious that the brand and the way it's pressed had to be looked at, had to be revised to accompany this new strategy and vision. And that's when we appointed Interbrand to help us do this and help us understand how we could make the brand expression relevant in a digital kind of era, and how we could retain those elements that were really key to our history. I'm going to go through a couple of elements that are really rooted in our culture, because those were key. One has to do with the idea of prosperity. Our founders over 160 years ago had in their minds when they started the bank. They wanted to help local businesses to export their products and services to other countries in Europe. So this idea of helping businesses and people prosper was key to the bank and is still key. Another thing has to do with the way we want to do things, being simple, personal, and fair. That should be reflected in the way we behave as employees, in the way we treat our clients, in the way we design our products and services, and so on. And last but not least is this idea of how a retail bank can move forward and become an open financial platform. And now I'm going to pass it on to Lucas so he can tell you about all the design work that they did for us.
Now I'm going to jump into the visuals to show what was the challenge for Interbrand. Because as Juan said, they had a new strategy, and the challenge for us was how can we reflect this new strategy into visuals, into a new brand expression. Starting with the logo, the flame, it was really organic and was not working really well on screens, especially for mobiles. We started with this grid. We then started drawing some lines and oval shapes inside of it, combined with circles, and then we just fill it in. And this is the refined symbol. Now we have more equal balance between the white and the red. As you can see, the counter space goes more towards the bottom. So when we reduce the symbol, it behaves better and it's more visible to mobile screens and smaller approaches and applications. This is where Monotype comes in. We partnered with them to create the wordmark, the letters for the Santander logo. And they use the symbol, the details of the shape, these curves, as the points in this, as you can see in the S shape, the endings, it was all inspired by the symbol we developed. And not only with the curves, but also, for example, on the A, as you can see on the bottom, this detail is the same as the tip of the flame. So the whole wordmark was inspired by the symbol. And we did a lot of experimentations to see, should we use a single story a double story A with no shoulders? And we did a lot of experimentations and trials just to understand which was the best option. Until we finally achieved the final result. We went with this open A that was more visible for screens. And for the top of the wordmark, we removed the shoulders, giving this something more smooth to the eye. Not only we developed the typeface for the logo, we also developed the logo light version, because Santander has a lot of sub-brands and they are always creating new ones for new opportunities. That's why it was really important to develop these typeface as well. We did also develop a system that is responsive system, because before Santander didn't have any like a vertical version. So the logo was struggling into the smaller spaces.